Hello everyone, Andy Day here with week 19 of the England Hockey League preview podcast. Some milestones from last week in the Premier Divisions, where seasons were shaped, the first shootout took place, and teams made strides to making it to finals weekend. Let's look first at the fixtures for the Women's Premier Division, Pool A. 2 games at 2 o'clock. Hampstead and Westminster play Wimbledon, and East Grinstead play Bowdon. Let's have a quick look at Pool A. East Grinstead and Hampstead and Westminster are on 3 points. Bowdon and Wimbledon are on 0. If East Grinstead and Hampstead and Westminster both win, they will qualify for the finals weekend. Firstly, to Hampstead and Westminster, where the objective is simple. It has to be an away win for Wimbledon to keep the possibility of a place at finals weekend alive. Wimbledon have beaten Hampstead and Westminster this season as recently as the 15th of March, when Lucy Holder and Paige Gillett got the decisive goals in a 2-0 home win. The first meeting was back in October, when the teams shared the points in a 1-1 draw on this ground. This looks like a very good fixture to follow on Saturday. Similarly for Bowdon, its win or the chance to play in May is out of their hands. One previous meeting this season, which is a repeat of this fixture. East Grinstead were winners by 4-2 in Phase 1. Beaver Mills is in good form and leads the goal scorers table. Can either team get the result that they would like this Saturday? In Women's Pool B, 3:30 for Surbiton Loughborough Students and 5 p.m. for Reading Clifton Robinsons. If Reading and Surbiton both win, they will qualify for finals weekend. Surbiton and Reading are on 3 points. Loughborough and Clifton Robinsons are on 0. Reading host Clifton Robinsons, where a win for either side would be critical. Reading have played Clifton Robinsons once before in this season. Reading were comfortable 3-0 winners, but this was when Reading were in their golden spell of form. Clifton Robinsons have had their first loss in recent weeks last weekend, but have been looking pretty impressive. There could be a few goals in this match. Loughborough Students really need to get a result here to keep their season alive. In their most recent meeting at Loughborough in March, Surbiton were 5-0 away winners, but things were closer at Surbiton in the autumn. Loughborough Students were edged down 3-2. That said, Loughborough Students have lost all their 6 games in 2025. This is the time when everything has to go right for the Students. 2 fixtures at 2 o'clock in the Women's Relegation Pool. University of Birmingham play University of Nottingham, and Holcombe play Sutton Coldfield. For the only time this season, 2 relegated teams meet each other. Holcombe, relegated last weekend, host Sutton Coldfield. Both of these matches this season have been fairly close, with the sole point of the season for Sutton Coldfield coming in the 1-1 draw between the sides back in October at Windley. Holcombe did get a 2-0 win in the second running of the fixture at the start of March at Holcombe. Pride is at stake here, as the teams are guaranteed to finish 11th and 12th, whatever happens in the remaining 2 fixtures. The other match is between the 2 university sides that guaranteed their places in next season's Premier Division with last week's victories. University of Nottingham could go level on points with University of Birmingham with a win on Saturday. However, there needs to be a swing of 12 goals for any change of league places. Both of the matches this season have been 2-2 draws, and the form guide tells us that the teams have 3 wins in their last 5. This could prove to be an entertaining game with the pressure off the teams. By the way, Coker Hall's hat-trick against Holcombe last week was University of Birmingham's second hat-trick of the season, the first coming against Sutton Coldfield back at the start of the campaign. Beaver Mills of East Grinstead is now out on her own at the top of the table, adding another 2 to her seasonal tally to take her to 15 this season, 2 clear of second place Darcy Bourne of Surbiton, who also scored this week. Hampstead and Westminster goalkeeper Miriam Pritchard leads the way in the clean sheet table. Wheeler Welch of East Grinstead and University of Birmingham's Evie Wood are 1 behind on 5 each, and impressively, all 3 players didn't concede in this week's games. 2 games in Men's Pool A, 3:30 for Old Georgians Hampstead and Westminster, and 4 o'clock for Wimbledon East Grinstead. The pool looks like this. Old Georgians on 3, they're ahead on goals scored over Wimbledon, also on 3. East Grinstead and Hampstead and Westminster are on 0 points. An Old Georgians win and a Wimbledon win will secure a finals place for both teams. 2 wins this season for Old Georgians, both away from home. 5-0 in November and 2-4 in March, and Old Georgians are back to winning ways. Hampstead and Westminster need a win to stay in touch. This could be a big game. Hampstead and Westminster will need to find a result from somewhere. They have 1 win and 4 losses in their last 5 games. Old Georgians could book their ticket to Nottingham this weekend, should results go their way. Wimbledon have already beaten East Grinstead this season, 3-2. Similarly to Hampstead and Westminster, a win for East Grinstead is vital for their end-of-season hopes. Both of these sides' form is very mixed. 2 wins in their last 5 outings and not able to put a string of wins together. That said, Wimbledon can, with a win on Saturday, and all but guarantee a place at finals weekend. I have a feeling that this game will be very tight, with the first goal being crucial. Men's Pool B, 5 o'clock for Holcombe Beeston, and 6 o'clock for Surbiton Oxted. The pool looks like this: Surbiton are on 3 points, Oxted on 2, Holcombe on 1, and Beeston on 0. Oxted start this week with a bonus point in the bank after a shootout success after the draw with Holcombe, the first shootout of the season. Oxted travel to Surbiton, where in their past 2 meetings, Surbiton have 2 wins, but there have been plenty of goals on both sides. Surbiton winning 4-2 and 5-3 in Phase 1 and Phase 2 respectively. Surbiton have a boost of their own. Top scorer Struan Walker returned to the team last week after 3 games out. Oxted should be wary, he scored in both those previous victories for Surbiton. 2 teams with prominent forwards meet at Holcombe. Henry Croft's 20 league goals powering the Bees to the final stage, and Holcombe have Teague Marcano, who's contributed an impressive 19 so far. 1 meeting this season already, which came in Phase 1. Holcombe 4, Beeston 2. I think we should expect goals. Given the points tallies after week 1, a win would be very important for both sides. This could be match of the day. In the men's relegation pool, 4 o'clock for Southgate Bowden and 4:30 for Cardiff and Met versus Richmond. Richmond travel to South Wales knowing that their fate has been decided, confirmed last week after a spirited 4-3 defeat at Southgate. Cardiff were big winners over Richmond in Phase 1. It finished 7-0 in October. Cardiff and Met completed a double with a win at Richmond a couple of weeks ago, 2-1 the final score. Richmond are looking to secure a 2nd win of the season. Southgate could be in a position to effectively relegate 2 sides in consecutive weeks when they meet Bowden. The Southgate win would make it impossible for Bowden to catch them. That said, a Bowden win would still put them within 3 points of Southgate with 3 to play for. There needs to be a big swing of goals to Bowden, so goals are the order of their day. Southgate have won both games by a single goal, 4-3 in Phase 1 and 1-2 2 weeks ago. Sam Ward at Old Georgians is continuing to rack up the goals this season. He's on just the 34 so far, with a maximum of 4 more games to play. Second place is As You Were, no addition to the 20 for Beeston's Henry Croft and Struan Walker at Surbiton. It was a good weekend for goalkeepers in both men's and women's Premier Divisions. 2 more clean sheets in the men's competition. Wimbledon's Ore Ogunlana adds number 5 and stays out on top, whilst James Mazzarello at Surbiton keeps in touch with number 4 in 2nd place. Tickets are on sale for the finals weekend at the Nottingham Hockey Centre on the 3rd and 4th of May. Make sure you head to the England Hockey website to get your tickets now. This week it's a pleasure to speak with Giles Osborne, Holcombe's assistant coach. How are you doing, Giles?
Yeah, great. Thank you, Andy. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you. Second time we've checked in with Holcombe this season. How's Mo Meir doing? We spoke to him back in October.
Yeah, great. Thanks. He's having a really strong year. He had a serious Achilles injury 4 or 5 years ago, yeah, he has really worked hard on his fitness, and I think with our new way of playing and our new style, I think it really suits him this year, and I think he's back to the standards that we saw of Mo before the injury.
A shootout against Oxted last weekend. What's that like to take part in?
Yeah, for some of the players, it was a new experience. For the team, it was a new experience. Now, obviously, we've got people who've been through shootouts before individually, but as a collective, it's always new. It was always new. We've learnt loads. Obviously disappointed that we didn't get the bonus point, but first time through, lots of learning.
And you're up against Beeston and Surbiton in the remaining 2 games. How are you going to change things for that?
Well, to be honest, Andy, we're not going to change too much. We're pretty clear about the way we play. We're pretty comfortable with the way we play. I thought Oxted were great at the weekend. It's a club I really admire. And whilst I don't want them to be great against us, don't get me wrong, I thought they bounced back really well. And after the previous week where we had beaten them quite convincingly, and teams do that, and they stepped up and we stepped back, and the gap was narrowed to a draw. So congratulations to them, but we're now into that kind of knockout phase that's happened to us before. We know what we've got to do over the next 2 games. Surbiton is going to be a massive challenge. They drew at our place this year, which we should have won easily. I think they scored. It was one of those they scored in the last minute, 30 seconds of the game. So we were really disappointed with that. So we know it's well within our capabilities to beat Surbiton, and Beeston are lively and they'll always bring a challenge to us. They've got some lively forwards. We're comfortable with playing against Beeston, but they have some really talented players that we're going to have to manage. But as I say, we're in that knockout phase of the tournament where we know what we've got to do, which is basically have the future in our own hands and win the 2 games. We don't want to be relying on other fixtures, which we've had to do in the past. We did that last year, dropping points against Hampstead and Westminster, and it's not a comfortable position to be in.
The goal being to get to the finals weekend at Nottingham. It's something you experienced back in 22-23 at Surbiton. What's finals weekend like for you?
It was excellent. Surbiton put on a great weekend. We're fortunate the weather was good. I think the hockey was good. There was some good spectators there, people enjoying themselves. And whilst we've been to Europe before, it felt like something we hadn't done before, to win through this way in this new format. And I think going into that 2023 finals weekend, I think we weren't tipped to get through to the final. Semi-final was against Surbiton, and it was a good game of hockey. It was a good game of hockey. I don't think we were fortunate to win. I think we won well. They were very disappointed, obviously, to lose at home. But the feeling of it was great, and it was it was testament to what we'd done to that season to get through. And that year meant if you went through to the final, you got into Europe. So I think we ticked. It was another interesting moment about psychology and sport and teams that we wanted to get to Europe. Obviously, we wanted to win the league, but old Georgians had run away with that. We'd love to have won the playoffs, but getting to Europe was kind of, I guess, inside everybody's, if we're really honest, our main objective. And once we'd done that by winning the semi-final, it felt like the final was one step too far for us in 23. So again, we probably, I'm guessing now, we probably had 7 or 8 people who were there in 2023 who remember that. So that's in the back of our minds moving forward, that it's more than just getting to Europe. We have to raise our sights a little bit higher, our expectations of ourselves a little bit higher, to say actually it's not just about getting to Europe. But yeah, so 2023 was great. It was absolutely brilliant for us. Really enjoyed it.
Looking at the results over the season so far, it was a very, very strong first phase of the season. What's your highlight from the season been so far?
I think we in the summer, when Barry Middleton left, we saw it as a real opportunity to start again. I think we'd stumbled from the previous coach through with Barry. That was that was a strong decision, and Barry took us forward. However, we saw it as an opportunity when Barry left to start again, and to really focus on the culture of the team. We had a new playing style, and what Kwan's brought in is different, and I think the players have embraced it. And obviously, we've got players who've joined us. We thought long and hard about changing the profile of what we look for in players in the first 11, and I think that changing of profile has really helped us put together some strong performances in that first half of the season. There's lots of energy. So I think the highlight for me was us starting again, having a great first half of the season, putting lots of strong performances together, bringing a group of players together, and creating a culture where people really enjoyed their hockey. And that was really at the forefront of what we were trying to do. And the results followed. And post-Christmas, it's, things haven't quite gone our way. There's been lots of, I think every coach will say there's been lots of results that could have gone either way, but that's how leagues work. That's how hockey works, isn't it? Sometimes you get the rough of the green, sometimes you don't. But overall, considering where we were in the summer, and we had some notable leavers in the summer, if you were to say where we are today, we would have bitten your hand off. So yeah, I think to sum all that up, I think the fresh start and the culture change has been it's been really impressive.
So not just one moment, it's the journey as a whole.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I guess the other thing for me is seeing, as I say, we changed the profile of the squad, and we have in the past relied on older, more senior players in our squad, and whilst we're not going to throw the baby out with the bathwater, we really want to not rely on those 30 plus players with a bag full of international caps. We really want to develop the younger and go down that route more, and seeing some of those players come through, the Matt Ramshaws and Alex Pendle and Sam Taylor. Those guys have got that age profile. Rohan Bowie got that age profile of those early 20s to 25. It's really exciting for the club. Really exciting.
Something I like to ask visitors to the podcast is, what's your favourite away trip? Where do you like to go on the road with Holcombe?
Oh, crikey, that's a great question. I think I love Surbiton in the evening. I like a crowd who enjoys themselves. When I was a player, I used to really enjoy going to Cannock away, and that I always enjoyed. But I think at the moment I think Surbiton away is that under floodlights when it's dark, and the pitch feels like it's enclosed, and as I say, the spectators are enjoying themselves, and there's a little bit of edge in the game, just because there has been over the last 3 or 4 years. I think Surbiton's, I would say Surbiton. It's not too far to travel either. I mean, I've had great days up at Bowden. We've had great days at places like Brooklands. However, the travel is difficult. So I'm going to go with Surbiton. Going for Surbiton.
It's not been the greatest season for Holcombe women, but there are some success stories elsewhere in the club.
Yeah, that's right. We've had actually an excellent season, and we're known. Well, one of the criticisms of the club is the club's only known for their first 11s, but we're really excited that our second 11 in the men's has got into the National League this year, which is excellent. Our Holcombe Harriers and Heroes, which are teams within the men's structure, they've got promotion. The under-16 girls have got through to the semi-final of their national competition. The under-18 boys have got through to the final of their competition. So going back to my original point, which was what is hockey about and what is Holcombe want to be about, which is about enjoyment and culture. It's really good to see that now that the club hopefully is breaking down those barriers about being more than just a first 11 and seeing success throughout the club. So yeah, it's been a really strong year, and I've got to mention the over 55 men who've got through to the final. Not that that's a personal comment in any way, I hope you appreciate, but they're a very strong outfit. I would pick them to be the favourites of that. So yeah, but on the whole, it's been a good year.
Giles Osborne of Holcombe, thank you so much for your time.
No, it's been a pleasure. Thank you very much.
The final push is here for the teams in the top pools. Which teams will make it through to finals weekend? For all the latest England hockey, we'll keep you updated with the headlines via their website and also via Facebook and Instagram. Do stop by and give us a follow. I've been your host, Andy Day. Join me again next week for your essential quick guide to the upcoming fixtures.